Welcome back to Remembering Smallville,
a Smallville rewatch podcast.
I'm Daniel.
I'm Nicole.
I'm Kim.
And I'm Brett.
Well, it's finally that time. We have reached the end of season 2.
Ooh, yeah, we made it. Whoop, whoop.
Yay.
20% done. 20% done, Nicole.
That's crazy.
I don't know why we keep doing this podcast. Nobody listens to us, but we're going to keep soldiering forward.
That's what happens when people do a podcast, right?
Yeah.
You just have to keep going.
Mm-hmm.
Well, maybe it will just start to take off. Maybe it's because nobody cares about season 1 and 2 of Smallville because they suck. Season 3 is where it picks up, so we'll see if our podcast picks up more viewers then too. But I think we need to talk about all the things with season 2, just like we did our last recap. So let's just talk general thoughts. Let's start with our Smallville virgin.
Yeah, Smallville Virgin. Tell us what you thought of season 2 of Smallville.
Brett and I were talking about this. It felt like not much went on in season 2, but then when we recapped ourselves, we were like, oh, there is a lot that goes on. A little bit of stuff I liked. They finally kiss.
Yeah, like
Finally.
for real.
Yes. I loved this. A friend outside of the family learns the secret. Pete knows his secret. That was exciting for me.
Oh yeah, that was this season, huh?
Yeah. Another thing is he gets heat vision. I don't like how he gets this heat vision.
I love
But he gets heat vision. So those are some things that stood out. Also, learning more about his home, the caves, things like that.
Yeah, we also get the Christopher Reeve special where we learn about Krypton.
Even though I'm not a huge fan of seasons 1 or 2, I love the Christopher Reeve bit.
Yes,
It's the
well, and
best.
Jor-El talks to him. He
Yeah.
finally gets to talk about that, finds out he's from Krypton, that it's called kryptonite. Like, a lot of pieces are really coming into form.
Did you like that Chloe was like non-existent in this season?
She was really mopey and not around much. And no, I didn't like it.
Yeah,
Same with Pete. I feel like they were almost written off.
I know. I think they were so focused on, clearly they were so focused on the love story between Lana and Clark.
And Lex had a lot of drama going on this
That's
season.
true.
You mean he gets married, but then is almost,
Well, and here's the crazy thing. Chloe ends this season, the way that they do it, they kind of seem to be foreshadowing a villain arc for her or something.
Yeah, she's like, how the season 2 ends is she's like evilly drinking tea with Lionel in the dark.
Yes.
and she's like, I'm now turning into a villain of the series.
In spoilers, that goes nowhere in a way. Okay, it becomes nothing. kind of.
Thank you.
I think you're going to find season 3 really highlights this hard.
Oh, maybe. I think I've forgotten.
So
See, here's the thing. When I binged this show the last 3 times, you know what I started with? 1 and 2 of season 3. Maybe 1 or 2 episodes in season 3. I watched the season finale of season 3 and then start in season 4, watch maybe 60% of season 4, and then I do season 5 and I watch 80% of that. And then season 6, I watch 99% of that because there's 1 episode that I hate. And then from then on, I watch 100% of everything and I love it. So season 3, I remember the very first
spotty.
episode so well. And I remember how season 2 ends really, really well because that's kind of how I like to start the show. But outside of that, I don't know, my brain, I might as well be the Smallville virgin in those things.
You're good. It'll be fun. Season 3, it does carry Chloe's arc, but I'm with you, Kim. Season 2, Chloe is one of my least favorite parts.
Right?
I agree.
And I try to see it not just as someone that's seen the whole series where I'm like, man, this is an annoying version of Chloe, but also just if I watch that on its own, I'm like, this character is annoying. She pops in at random times. You're thinking to yourself, is she a friend?
It's like she's
What is
only
she?
there to be a source of drama or
Yes.
drive the drama plots. It's so annoying.
Yeah.
There's no positive her in this.
One more reason why I skip a lot until later, because Chloe's character becomes a very, very good character. She becomes awesome. So I'm excited for you to really see her growth, Kim.
I can't wait. So in our season 1 recap, you asked about villains.
Yes.
And do you remember who your favorite one was?
Tina Greer.
Does she come back?
Yes.
Now I know why you said that villain is the worst.
Yeah, because I knew with my memory that she'd come back as Whitney, and I knew it was going to blow your mind because if you've never seen it and have no idea, that episode is shocking.
Oh my god.
Because Whitney comes back from war, but it's Tina. It's so good.
And they do a pretty good job at hiding how he's been dead the whole time.
Yes.
Another character that returns in this season, Ryan.
I
Yes.
know this is the one where Kim realized why we were all sobbing at the first Ryan episode in season 1.
And I cried on a podcast.
Yes.
It's because of Ryan. Well, I was looking through the list of episodes, and I realized we had a lot of villain of the day in season 1. In this season, it's more like bad creature / circumstance of the day. Because in Heat, there's like a villain, but not really. It's more like puberty is a villain.
Yeah.
Trying to figure out. With Red, it's not a bad guy of the day. It's bad ring of the day.
Yeah.
Then when we have Ryan, it's just a tumor of the day.
Oh. I mean, the doctor's kind of the bad guy, but yeah.
With Rush, it's like a creature in the neck villain.
Yeah.
Fever is a evil spore. Like it's kind of just like
Elements and things.
that are bad things, but not bad people as much.
That's so interesting.
What else do you have, Brett?
Well, I'm also remembering Helen Bryce. We got to call out that she's in here.
Absolute.
That storyline.
Yeah.
Don't worry, listeners. We actually get to wrap up a little bit of the storyline into season 3. So stay tuned as we wrap up the Helen Bryce storyline. And how that impacts our story. We mentioned this briefly, but we get Christopher Reeve's episode. We get a couple other little pieces that don't really go anywhere, like Clark meets his grandpa.
Yeah.
More
Lex has
financial
a
things.
brother.
Those are a couple things I really hated about the season. I couldn't stand the will they, won't they in this season. I felt like it lasted too long between Clark and Lana. Yeah, it's good when they finally get together, but then, Kim, didn't you just think, well, they're not going to last because how can they, right?
Yes.
So it's frustrating because as a person who understands Superman, you know who he ends up with. Lois Lane. And so it's hard to watch him have these
Season after
long-term
season.
feelings for Lana because you're like, it's going to end anyway, and let's just get on with it.
Okay, so I've got a couple more things here, but let's talk about who the worst villain of the season is. Who's the worst?
Like the most evil or just garbage?
I think we should do both.
Most evil, and then we'll do most garbage.
Okay.
Most evil is probably Lionel, in my opinion.
Overarching, yeah, Lionel. If I'm remembering even all of our podcast episodes, so much irritation with Lionel.
Because pretty much every other villain is either like an element or they're somebody motivated by greed or pride or whatever. Whereas Lionel is far more devious than something as simple as greed or pride or one emotion or something.
Okay, just going to call out 2 that you guys might remember and absolutely hate. Our fun visitor from the Twilight series that tries to gang rape Lana and Sue Clark.
Yeah.
I think he was.
He might be the worst.
I hated
know
him.
who-
Yeah.
Garbage.
Do you know who creeped me out as much as Tina Greer? Helen Stalker.
Oh, yeah,
Oh,
he was
yeah.
bad. One that is a garbagey villain that is in episode 7 of Lineage where she's like, I'm your mom, Clark. Her, what a psychopath.
Yeah.
Yeah, that episode was so uncomfortable.
That might be one of the worst ones. I hate that episode.
Do you know what else we learn? Martha gets pregnant.
Yes, that's a big story point.
And loses the baby.
Yes.
All in the one season.
All in the one season.
Just to hurt. Dr. Frederick Walden, I think, was a pointless villain.
Yeah.
Yeah, the only reason he existed, honestly, was to make it so Lionel could make a kryptonite version of the key out of the printing in his hand.
Not that Lionel couldn't have done that since he had the key before and could have had a cast of it done at
I
that
know.
point.
Why wouldn't you make a bunch of copies immediately of something that's unique?
Details. Who needs it?
Man, as we're talking, I'm realizing a lot happened in this season that I forgot
That's
already.
that's exactly what Kim and I were talking about before. Because as you go through the season, you know it's an early season. You feel like, okay, there might have been a couple things. But when you start putting it all together, you think, wow, the key in the wall and the caves, all of this is happening. He's finding out about his ship. Pete finds out the secret and is now helping Clark. You have Lana and Clark actually getting into a relationship. You have him learning new abilities. You have him finding out what red kryptonite is, finding out that it's called kryptonite, meeting someone that helps out to find out of his planet. All of this is in season 2. And so I'm with you, Daniel. Like, as you look back on it and you think, oh, there are better seasons, but this has a lot of meat to it when you go through the whole season.
And it has one of Nicole's favorite loves of Clark, Kyla.
Oh,
Kyla.
Yeah, I love that episode, Skinwalker. It's so good because it's so genuine and you get the whole cave set up. You get the story, you get the cave painting that we'll see in season 3 referenced, like the good versus evil, Naman and Zagat, right? Yeah, that's a good one.
So there's some cool super moments in this season too. So first we get that he has heat vision, so he's starting to use heat vision for things. It's an episode that I know we kind of throw away, but when Lionel and Martha were held hostage, Clark was able to go to the Daily Planet, was able to leap the buildings in a single bound, right?
Yep.
Like these are super moments that you go, oh,
He also caught a car.
Caught a car?
Caught a car in Rush.
He became more bulletproof.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like he used to get bruises and now like he's just straight bulletproof. So he's getting stronger and tougher. And
Yep, and he had a case of the sniffles for a while
Yeah,
too.
we also
He
saw
gets
him
sick
get
for the
sick.
first
we also
time.
get introduced to red kryptonite.
Yeah.
Which is never going to go away, which is okay. The thing I love in the top maybe 5 top things that I love the most about Smallville is the different kryptonite colors.
That's so awesome.
And you can expect when you're getting into this second season, now there's a second color, there's going to be more. They're going to come up with more, and they're really interesting.
Have we talked about this? Do you guys have a favorite kryptonite color?
I think we weren't going to talk about it till they came up because we want them to be a
We
surprise
could
for you.
mention the colors and not say anything about them.
Yes,
or
a
why.
teaser. Kryptonite color teaser, go.
Okay, so you've got green, which you're very familiar with.
And we have
Red.
red.
Now we know red.
There's blue.
There's blue. There's black kryptonite.
There's silver.
There's gold.
There's yellow. Is
No,
it yellow
it's
or
gold.
Okay, sorry.
There are that many. Does one each season get introduced?
No.
Not necessarily. You'll know all of them by season 8, I think. Pretty
So
much.
near the end, it's going to be a while.
So yeah, again, we have green, red, blue, black, gold, and that's it.
I think it's it.
Can you tell me your favorite color? And I have no idea why it's your favorite color.
Red.
Okay, I'm going to be honest and say I love blue, but for a specific
I do too.
specific scene
Well,
that is
sure.
probably one of my favorite instances in the entire series.
Oh my
The
God.
finale of season.
No, don't you dare.
No, okay.
Don't you dare. No. You're thinking the right one, but no. It's literally an episode and a scene and like section of the series that I probably watch the most because it's so freaking awesome.
Yeah.
I guess we'll have to wait and see.
I can't wait.
We won't get to that for like 5 years. Just kidding. No, but I was thinking of that very, very scene, Brett, and that's why Bloop, I really, really like the episode around gold. It's one of my favorite episodes in the
Okay.
whole series. It's hard for me not to pick gold as well. So like blue has a really good recurring theme. I love it. But gold, I think, has one of my favorite episodes. So
That's
Okay,
fair.
so my next question is, do they always come back or are some only introduced one time?
Some are, well, I don't want to spoil it, so I will.
All right.
well, some are more rare,
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
and it's a good thing.
okay.
Okay, so then flipping this, we had Daniel and we had our nerd moment just there for you for the
Yeah.
season. But there was actually some moments for Nicole and Kim and all of you. Shoot.
Thirsty ladies.
Yeah, all of you Tom Welling lovers. He definitely had some amazing shirtless moments and moments where, he's either wet with water and everyone's seeing how buff he is, or he steps out of a fire with his clothes burned off. And there was
Yes.
no sadness in those moments for you ladies. Yes?
No, we did okay.
Yeah,
We
you
did
did okay.
It was going to be all right.
Yeah.
It was going to
Yeah.
be just fine.
And I will say I have prepared we're going to be recording right after this, starting season 3, and we get a delicious shirtless moment coming up. I'm so excited.
Yeah, there's a little teaser for you. We also get a lot prettier Lana. She gets better hair and makeup in this season, and she is a lot more sultry several times. So for the men, there's some good stuff there too.
Daniel called out that she was just ravenous for Clark's secret.
Yes.
Yes.
Literally lusting with all her soul for his secrets. Like, that woman's eyes were greedy for secrets.
I don't think it was his secret she was lusting after.
Maybe it was his secret.
Oh,
Okay, so on this note, we talked about this in our last recap of season 1. As we go, we're going to continue to rank the seasons, just comparing them to one another. Was season 2 or season 1 better if you were to rank them? We'll start with you, Nicole. Which would you say is better season for you?
Season 2 is better than season 1. Story-wise, you get less random villains of the day that go nowhere. Like, things in each episode actually matter. But I think the nostalgia of season 1 makes me like it more. But at the same time, I don't like it more. I like season 2 more. But I also am not reaching ever for any episodes in season 2, really.
Gotcha. I think it's fair. Daniel?
I think the only way I can rank these is by putting them on a tier chart. If you've ever seen those, the topmost is S tier. S stands for superior, and then it goes A, B, C, D to F. And I honestly put season 1 at like D or E tier on the scale.
Okay.
And I'd put season 2 at C or D tier above season 1.
Okay. I like it.
So it's garbage. It's just not hot garbage.
Still on fire.
Yeah, it's not
Kid?
F tier.
So the teenage me would have loved season 1. Mm-hmm. So when you talk about nostalgia, I'm like, yeah, I would have loved that. Definitely season 2 is better for me. It's more meaty. There's more
Substance? I don't know.
There is more substance
More
to
plot.
this. Yeah, more plot. You learn more, but the teenage version would have thought season 1 was better.
I think season 2 is better in almost every way. Season 1's important because it's how it starts, but season 2, they finally are finding what they want to do with the series. They haven't finalized everything. There's still a little bit of growth the series makes, but I like season 2. It's more established. It's not as much character building where we need to decide who everyone is. And you just roll with story. We highlighted this in the recap.
You know what? That makes me think. Season 2 is a world-building season.
Yes.
And they kill off Nell.
And Nell is...
They write her
she's
off.
not dead, but
Yeah.
she's just in Metropolis, and you'll never see her again.
Finally.
Finally. So then we have the question. We did this in our last recap too. So I think about Nicole's response. If you guys want to listen to that episode, please re-listen. It's only 14 minutes, and it's a quick recap of season 1. But Nicole talks about this, how she liked that season less watching it now as an adult.
Yeah.
Do you feel the same way about season 2?
Not as much.
Okay, so it's better.
The
as an
problems
adult.
felt bigger. There was
Yeah.
a lot less villains of the day. Like I said, it's more like dealing with circumstance, dealing with sickness, dealing with death, dealing with, there are dumb episodes like being a boy, Byron, locked in his basement, but there's less of that, which I appreciate.
Daniel, do you like it more or less than when you'd watched it before?
I think my biggest problem that I struggle with is that these kids are supposed to be 15 years old right now in this season.
Not very believable.
I think
Maybe
they're just
by
seniors
the-
for like 4 years.
Maybe you could argue that by the end, 1 or 2 of them could get to age 16, but they are 15-year-olds. And this whole season, they act 18, 19-ish. That's true of the show for
This
the
was
entire
their
high school.
sophomore year.
Sophomore
Yes.
year, yes.
So you're 15 when you're a sophomore, pretty much at most. Usually you're not 16. So they're not even close to 18, and they're doing things that the problems with shows like Pretty Little Liars or others where the teenagers are just too old to be true teenagers. So I almost have to headcanon it as, they start high school when they're 18.
I know. I've been talking about this for 2 seasons. I don't care what you say. They're older than that.
Yeah.
Yes.
They just have to be. It doesn't make any sense. Maybe it's all the trauma.
Yeah.
It's aged them.
Even with the way
Has to.
this season ends, right? You're like a 16-year-old that, and I get that Clark is different because he's an alien and all of this, but
Sure.
at 16 years old, this kid decides, I'm running away to the big city on my own. I'm driving away on a motorcycle with my dad's motorcycle, and no one will find me again.
Yeah.
You're like, I mean, does it happen? Yeah, there are 16-year-olds that run away, but it's not like this. The weight of this is very different
And
than
they
a
let
16-year-old.
Lana be a business owner with no
15?
supervision. Like
Yeah.
it doesn't make any sense.
Stuff I accepted a little bit more as a teenager, I don't
So
accept as well
you
as
think
an adult.
Lionel's
Oh,
coming
okay.
to a 15-year-old reporter and being like, listen, let's give you a column. Write me some dirty deets on your best friend.
And it's
Not-
dark every time he
It's not gonna
comes. Like,
happen.
no.
So the flip side of this, and the reason why it played well for the teenage audience, as a parent of a teenager, they believe that they are smarter than the adults in their lives. They believe
true.
that they are ready for adulthood. Our child, our daughter, she's so responsible, and she could go and live on her own right now and be a full functioning person in society. No doubts about that. All of her and her friends, they all are taking on all of their emotions, all of their problems, and they're thinking that they're handling them like adults. And as parents, we watch it and we go, okay, like bring it back down to earth. Mm-hmm. This is not life and death. This is a teenage situation, right? But it's why teenagers associate with shows like this or Pretty Little Liars is, I'm old like them and I can make decisions. If I were in that spot, I would be doing this.
Well, and they want to make those
They
decisions.
want to be adults.
And so that's why these shows, these CW shows are so
relatable to them.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's not a huge problem. It doesn't like make me hate the show in any way, shape, or form. It's just my biggest problem with the first few seasons. And I mean, that's not a big deal, really. Yes, you probably could find 15-year-olds that look like they're 23. Those exist. Absolutely.
Maybe in Kansas.
Corn fed.
But
All that fertilizer fumes, aging them horribly.
I used to teach ballet to teenagers, and I knew a few that turned 15, 16, and suddenly I was like, oh my gosh, you look like you're 25 now. What the heck happened over the summer? But then you'd hear them talk, and they're like absolutely
Still
15, you know?
15.
Mentally and emotionally, yeah.
And so
sure.
it's just kind of funny because if these characters in the show were actually like that, you'd hear them be a lot different. I still enjoy it thoroughly, but I get broken from my immersion a little bit.
Well, something of note, it's random, off topic, but Lex gets married twice this season.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I thought about this, Nicole.
So true.
We can talk about this. It's something we should track is the number of times Lex gets married.
You're like, let's.
Does it happen more?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Does it ever stick?
I don't remember.
For how long?
He's the main villain. I doubt it.
Oh, it's so sad. Why can't he be a villain and have a nice home life?
That's funny.
Just shaking my head. So, on that note, friends, thank you so much for joining us for season 2 of Smallville. We really appreciate you listening along with us. Please feel free to comment, like, subscribe, hang out with us. We really enjoy talking about it. If you can't tell, we're just enjoying watching it and chatting about this. Feel free to join the chat with us. Social media, we're around. We're happy to chat through it. You guys have a great one. Thanks for chiming in.
And by the way, stay tuned next week because season 3 will start then. Thank you for listening to the second season of our Remembering Smallville podcast. We hope you've enjoyed rewatching Smallville and remembering it with us as you follow along and listen to our podcast. And don't you worry, we're already recording season 3, and that starts next week. So come check us out, and don't forget to follow us on every social media platform that we have. Bye!
Four friends on a mission, Daniel, Nicole, Brad, and Kim, talking Smallville every week. The podcast a gem. Smallville nights we laugh out loud. Every week they make us proud. Daniel, Nicole, Brad, and Kim, in their world we find our thrill. Heroes fly and legends grow. Stories shared, they make it flow. From Clark Kent to Lex's schemes, they uncover every dream. Smallville nights we laugh out loud. Every week they make us proud. Daniel, Nicole, Brad, and Kim, in their world we find our thrill. Watching tales of old, their voices pure gold. Every twist, every turn, with them there's much to learn. Smallville nights we laugh out loud. Every week they make us proud. Daniel, Nicole, Brad, and Kim.